Easy now.
Come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't want to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. You tried the marijuana. I was loving you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they feel strange. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag.
Welcome to the Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast powered by The Athletic. Shout out to the company. My name is Michael-Shawn Dugar. You can follow me on the tweet machine at Mike Dugar, Mikedugar. I'm verified on there. Shout out to Elon Musk, baby. Not even charging me for it. Also, shout out to our YouTube subscribers. Seahawks Man, the number 2 man, is on the YouTube channel, man. We appreciate all the love and support the entire season. Chris, talk to him.
What is good, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kid. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at CKIDD206, and that's CKid206.
And I shouted you guys out for following us all season because, ladies and gentlemen, the season is over. It is over. The Seahawks lost wild card round. You guys know all that. We're dropping the podcast the day after the game. So y'all already know. You watched it. You saw it. You probably read about it. Now you're listening to it. It's a wrap. We appreciate you guys following along the whole way. But before we talk about the game, I want to break some news to you guys that Chris is coming to you guys after sitting courtside, at the Blazers game, watching Dame and Luka. I heard he got the seats straight from Phil Knight, actually, and it was right there at mid-court. So round of applause for Chris stepping into the big-time world, courtside living.
It was fun. I'll say that much. Luka sucked, but he still managed to drop a double-double.
I thought he had like 30 in the game last night. Or Saturday.
No, Dame had 30.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Dame had 36. Luka had 13 and 11.
Oh,
and Reggie Bullock, he just made he went 8 of 10 from deep.
Woo! Oh man!
But it was a great game, man. And Luka, as bad as he played, he was making some passes that I'm thinking, damn. So if I was playing against 5th graders, I might be able to make that pass.
So just so you guys know, if you ever want courtside tickets to the Blazers, call Chris.
Do not call me. Charge to my credit card. I don't know if I can take care of all y'all, but
Anyway, let's jump into this game, man. As the season ended, well, we'll talk about the season as a whole because you guys have a shit ton of Twitter questions, so we won't spend too much time on the game. But one thing that I do think the game illustrated, and I wrote about it too on The Athletic, is just the difference between a team built for the present and a team built for the future. I think the Seahawks present was always shaky. That's why they were 9-8, right? That's 9-8 is a shaky team. But that future does look bright. They got some dudes on there. Chris, think of all the dudes that are on the team right now who ain't costing a bunch right now and ain't really about to cost a bunch for a little bit. Chenna, Reek, both the tackles, all the running backs. Quandre's just recently signed. DK costs a lot, but as he showed on Saturday, that's I was like, oh man, if DK is gonna play like that, obviously he ain't gonna do that every week. But it's good to know he's got that in him. His playoff numbers are low key actually very good.
Hell, even Mike Jackson, I don't know what his future looks like, but man, he definitely put on a performance. I'll tell you that.
Mike Jack is what you call an exclusive rights free agent, so you basically get him back on a minimum salary.
Yeah,
so he might make like 800 bands next year.
Crazy criminal.
Fortunate for Mike. I would wish Mike would make more than that, but to get the type of player that Mike is, even if you think Mike's the 40th best corner in the league, that's a starting corner. That's like a number 2 starting corner for, $800,000 or whatever. That number could be wrong, but you guys get my point. But yeah, DK, let me look at DK's playoff numbers. In 4 playoff games, DK has 451 yards. That is, I don't know how much that is per game, but I know it's a lot. Oh, it's 112. The number's in front of me. Duh. So he's averaging 112 points or 112 receiving yards per playoff game, and he's averaging a touchdown per game in the playoffs. So DK is about that. Who else is young on the team? I mean, this is a bad time maybe to shout out D-Lou because of all those penalties. But D-Lou is under contract for at least another year. Ain't costing a ton. I feel like we're missing some people.
I mean, Kobe Bryant, young guy.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Kobe. Still got Trey Brown. I know he wasn't like super involved. Even DT coming on 9.5 sacks to end the year. Yeah, there's some promise.
Yep.
Yeah. Even a guy like Miles Adams, who I think is going to grow into something.
When we did our film last Friday, he was someone I touched on, and then he did it again on mixing up the days. He did it again on Saturday. He blew through and tackled for loss. He's definitely someone to look out for, being young and talented. He's going to get more opportunity for sure.
Yeah, that was just a game that was just so evident. It's just the difference in weight classes, man. I used a bunch of boxing analogies in my story because that's what it felt like. It just felt like one team, when they hit hard, like really hard. Like this, they had 10 explosive plays on Saturday night, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
That is an absurd number. That's a really absurd number. Like I think the Seahawks had like two or three.
One DK.
Two to DK. And that's and then one like to Cade. Like when
and late in the game, that don't even really count.
One of them ones that like not to say like Cade did his thing and Geno did his thing, but you know what I mean. Like in the flow of the game, that was a very inconsequential explosive.
Correct.
You know what I mean, so the Niners are just so freaking loaded, man. You can see why Pete Carroll was like, "Oof, we got the Niners this week. We better lock in," because if you make a mistake against a team like that, that's like loaded up front. I was texting one of my homies. Shout out to homie Adam. I was texting Adam. I was just like, look how many all-pro players the Niners have. Like guys who've been all-pro on their current contract. So like it wasn't a million years ago. Maybe McCaffrey hasn't, but he was 2019 all-pro. McCaffrey's been all-pro. Let's count them out together, Chris. McCaffrey's been first-team all-pro. Trent Williams has been first-team all-pro. Deebo Samuel has been first-team all-pro. Fred Warner has been first-team all-pro. Hufanga has now been first-team all-pro. I'm missing somebody in here. Who am I missing? Oh,
what about Eric Armstead, Kittle?
George Kittle has been first-team all-pro. Did I mention Nick Bosa?
No, you did not. No.
Dog, that is – see what I mean? Then now they were all first-team all-pro in the same season, obviously, but that's what the type of player, though. That's different. I don't think the Seahawks have anybody who's been first-team all-pro. Do they? Top of my head.
Bobby was their last. It was Bobby Wagner before he obviously got cut, but no.
Yeah, Ryan Neal got some votes. Quandre got some votes. Tariq got some votes. I think DK got some second team. Ended up being like second team in 2020 that year. He made the Pro Bowl, and that's not to say that people on the Seahawks aren't good. There's really good players on both teams, but that's just the next level. That's what the next level looks like: is multiple all-pro players on the same team. Because when you're a Pro Bowler, you're like top 4-ish in your position in your conference. When you're an all-pro player, you're one of the best 2 players in the league at your position. It's just a different level, you know? So, and they have multiple guys, and they're all pretty much like guys under 30 with the exception of Trent Williams.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. And so the Seahawks can get there. You know, I think, Chris, we probably agree that it's very feasible for them to get there, but the Niners are there.
Yeah, that's what separates it. You talked about it last week when we discussed how can the Seahawks get this win, and it was your stars playing at a superstar level, basically playing their game. And DK did that, but unfortunately, Ty Lockett, he didn't have a superstar game. No. He only had 5 catches for 30-plus yards. Geno, he didn't have a superstar game. He had a costly turnover. And in those scenarios, you needed those guys to elevate their game. And that's a reason why the game was 17-16 at half, because they were playing at a high level, but there's 2 halves to this game. And unfortunately, the Niners just turned up the heat, and the Seahawks couldn't stay with it. And that really cost them. That first turnover, that fumble, that really changed things, because after that, it just got worse. Interception, and you know what the Niners kept doing? They just kept scoring.
Yeah, man.
Their offense is tough to stop, and they have weapons. And when there's key blocks here and there, and you have someone in Deebo Samuel who is a tank, he doesn't go down on first contact ever.
Right. That
just creates a multitude of problems at the second level when you have guys that are corners and safeties trying to make a tackle on this dude who's running 4.4 or 4.5 full speed, and he's a tank. How do you stop him? You got a gang tackle, and unfortunately, that wasn't the scenario on that 74-yard touchdown that he caught. which basically pretty much just stamped it like time of death, Pacific Standard Time. Great season, but it is what it is. You just got to move on forward and look towards the offseason and how this team can get better, which is why, again, you started off stating that it's a shaky present, but the future does look bright, which is another reason why Mike is wearing the sunglasses for our YouTube viewers.
Yeah, that works. I don't know if people probably wondering why I'm wearing these big ass shades.
The future's bright, but you just got to take it as a punch in the chin and know that you're going to play this team twice again next season. And how can you be better next year? How can you improve in the offseason? Geno, it's going to be protecting the football.
Yep.
2 times where I get that Geno wants to make a play in that scenario. Obviously, the Seahawks can take the lead again on this drive. Obviously, the Niners had just scored to start the second half. Seahawks get the ball back. To that point, they were putting on a monster drive. At worst, you're going to get 3. At worst, you're going to attempt. Let me just say attempt, because I know Mike is #neverkick. So you're going to attempt the 3, but for them to lose all that momentum on a fumble, that's just something I'm sure Geno is he wants it back. But he can go into the offseason working on stepping up into the pocket and holding onto the football. Because you could take a sack there. You can attempt the points, and maybe instead of it being 23-17, now you make the field goal, it's 23-20, and you're still in the hunt. You just need your defense to get a turnover, make Brock Purdy uncomfortable, which the Seahawks didn't really do a great job of. They made him move around the pocket, but he was able to escape, find guys down the field. That is something you're going to have to look forward to in next season. And how – well, actually, I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be next season, to be honest. They had
which
the Niners.
Oh.
They have a whole –
It should be Brock Purdy.
It should be, but who knows, right? To be fair, it could be Trey Lance if he has a great preseason, but that's not what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
We're just the Seahawks in that regard. But, again, they had their opportunities. They just fell short, and it sucks. There's no other way to put it. You saw it. I watched the pressers last night, and you could just see it. It sucks when the season ends the way it did, but I like what Ryan Neal said. He basically pointed to what we're talking about now, which is this team is going to be a problem for years to come with what they got right now. And even if as he mentioned, he might not be a vital player, a part of it, but he is excited to see what this team could be because he loved these guys. He talked about it like this was the most fun he's had, the best team he's been a part of. He's just enjoying the moment, and he's looking forward to what this team can do in the future. I'm paraphrasing. Can't remember exactly what he said word for word, but he alluded to the fact that he's ready for this opportunity next season. Regardless of how much he's playing, he wants the opportunity, and he's looking forward to it because of the guys around him and how much Geno works hard and just everyone. So this is definitely a tough L for the Seahawks, but it's something that they can look forward to and how they can get better, looking at the Niners and see how they evaluate. Because they're right there. They just need key guys to step up and become all-pro, become superstars. And that's definitely a possibility. There's no reason why Tariq Woolen next year cannot be the best corner in the NFL.
Right.
So that's what I got for you on that.
Well, I think that not only was that fumble costly, it really felt like a boxing match. It was like the first guy to get knocked down was probably going to lose. You know, you watch boxing, you know, you 2 guys going at it. They're going at it. It's the 8th round. Oh, dang, he got dropped. Even if he get up, it's like, ooh, but he got you now.
He got hit, yeah.
He tagged you first, and then you lose the fight. I think the Niners, before we get into questions, are also a really good example of a few things that the Seahawks want to be. And that's what that game was so, like from a big picture standpoint, before we get into any X's and O stuff with the questions. The Niners have – Pete Carroll is called he said it, and I wrote it too. Not just Pete said it, because that's what it looks like. Brock Purdy just in there playing point guard. He ain't going crazy. I mean, he went crazy a little bit. But he ain't like you watch him and you're not watching, like, you know, you're not watching Mahomes, right? You know, you're not watching Josh Allen, but you are just watching a guy get the ball to the dudes that need the ball, you know, and he just lets them eat. And that's what the Seahawks should try and be, instead of just being like, all right, Geno, hold it down while our defense is giving up explosives and we may or may not be able to run the ball. That we know that does not work, you know, to no fault of Geno's own. You got to have the pieces around him. They have the pieces around the guy. And the Niners are also constructed. I was talking to me and the homie Adam. He brought up this point too. When I was naming the All-Pros, he was like, how many first-round picks did they use on those All-Pros? The answer was 1. Most. That's it. They traded like a couple mid-round picks for Trent Williams. That was an interesting situation because he had the beef with the Washington football team, and he had like brain cancer or something. Like he had something really serious going on medically, and that was a mess. So they got him for like the low. But still, you don't use a first round pick on him. Didn't use a first round pick on Fred Warner, I don't believe. Can you double check that for me?
Yep.
Don't use a first round pick on Debo. Don't use a first round pick on Hafunga. Don't use a first round pick on Kittle. So the bottom line is there's a bunch of ways to get to that level. It isn't just have a bunch of picks in the top 15.
By the way, Federico Warner was drafted 3rd round.
3rd round pick on Fred. So you
Federico,
got guys,
Mike. It's not Fred, it's Federico.
So you got guys like you got first round, and then they traded a haul for Christian McCaffrey. Then they gave up a 2, a 3, and a 4, and a 5 in the future. They gave a lot. But the point is, you don't have to just have a bunch of picks in the top 15 or whatever, the top 30, and draft a bunch of superstars. No, you can find superstar caliber players. It's certainly especially at positions like inside linebacker and running back and tight end. I don't think I wouldn't say you need a first round pick to get a Pro Bowler at any of those spots. I would be confident finding a Pro Bowler at any of those spots in round 3. Legitimately, at least a Pro Bowler, maybe not all pro, but in round 3 for sure, Pro Bowler. So that the Niners are a good case study. Not to say they don't have no first round picks on the team. They do. Those guys are good too, but they're not just loaded with them. You know, they have some, and then they have some late round guys, and they have some other guys they've acquired. So that's another blueprint for the Seahawks. I think if they build it around Geno, the way that it's built around Brock, they could get there, and they're like halfway there.
Yeah,
they really are. Like K9, Tyler, and DK is like a really good starting point. Like
really
you just need probably like one of them. Like the scout team has to wear his jersey when they play the Seahawks. Like one more, whoever that is, whether tight end, whoever, just need one more of them cats on both sides of the ball, and you and they stay healthy, and you there. So they close, but it's like that shows you know, for like at the end of Coach Carter when they lost to that team that had Ty Crane. It's like that's the championship team right there. You'll get there, but they're there already. You know,
yep.
build it in that image, or like how every team who lost to the Golden State Warriors the years that winning the championship, and they kept firing their coaches. Like, well, hey, our coach can't get us to be like the Warriors, so you're fired. Because the Warriors were the standard. You know, same thing. You know, it's like losing to LeBron in the playoffs. LeBron is the standard. The Niners right now for the Seahawks, build your team like that. Eventually, right now we in offseason mode, baby. That's why I got sunglasses on indoors.
Well, on that note, it's time for Twitter questions. We got a bunch of them. We even asked some more today because the season's ended. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions about the season, the game, and we're going to do our best to answer all of them right here, right now. Mike, you ready to get into it?
Real quick, did you see Darryl Taylor have on sunglasses in the rain going to the game?
Yeah, I saw the picture. I think maybe you quote tweeted it, but I saw that, and I was thinking, man, I need to have money like that. That way no one can ask me why I'm wearing sunglasses. Because imagine if I pulled up anywhere with sunglasses. You know how many questions I get asked? If I was Darryl Taylor, you know how many questions I would get asked? None.
In the rain is just crazy. It's like not only is there no sun, it's raining.
Yeah, but I guess it was funeral time.
No, the glasses were hard too. It was dope. Anyway, yeah, I'm ready for questions.
Let's get to it, man. We got a trio, and this is from Steve Clark. Is the franchise tag a fair price for Geno? Did the Seahawks lose that game, or did the Niners win? And last but not least, better use of the first round picks. D-line, interior, offensive line, thoughts?
Oh boy, that is a lot. I love that second question. Did Team A lose it or did Team B win it? Mm-hmm. Not because it's a bad question, because I believe it's the question. If you guys remember, if there's a GIF / a meme of Russell Westbrook in the locker room, and he's looking at the reporters like, man, what? I'm out of here, man. Y'all tripping.
Yep.
I believe that is what he got asked. And I've always wondered why he thought that was such a bad question. At least I think we can go back and maybe figure that out. But I'm pretty sure that's the question he was asked to spark that. Anyway, I guess I'll start with that one. The Niners went and won that, man. The Niners, they're like that, you know? And
as we just talked about.
Yeah, and some guys in the locker room even acknowledged that. I was kind of just chatting around the locker room. They're just like, nah, man, that's a good team in there. Like in the little locker room, like they are good. They have good players. They execute. They have a good coach. They have good coaches. They tackle. They're disciplined. Like they have playmakers that make plays. Like it's not even no secret as to why it wasn't no fluky shit. Maybe fluky shit on the final score per se, but the fact that they won is not it beat them twice before pretty convincingly too. So that's an easy one. I won't ever do you guys like Russell Westbrook did that reporter in that setting. So funny. Westbrook's in like a green hoodie. I think that's if you guys look at this video. Yep. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. What was that first one? Is the franchise tag a fair price for Geno Smith?
Correct.
Yeah, I think so. The franchise tag is basically designed for a player like Geno Smith, where it's like, all right, you don't get top of the line money, but you definitely ain't just like you deserve to get a bag. That's kind of how it's designed. There's some other math that goes into it. But I think so. The problem is you just can't do that all like on a 1 year, $32 million guaranteed deal as a 2023 cap hit. That's just not feasible. So they got to figure that out. I know everyone keeps saying tag. They're going to use the tag. Yeah, probably, but you can't play him on the tag. So you got to look at not only just the cap space number, which is what, like 49 million, 50 million or something like that, according to Over the Cap. I don't think the 2023 salary cap has been officially set. Everything has been estimates, by the way. I think that gets settled at like here pretty soon. One of these meetings I don't get invited to. But the effective cap space number is important as well, because that goes into like your draft picks, because they're going to take up a lot of money, because they have big cap hits when you're drafting guys in the top 5, top 20. When you sign your top 51 guys under contract, like they don't have that much money to use. So it's not like that feasible. They can just use the tag and then still build the team. If they're eating up $32 million in cap in 2023 on Geno, they're going to ask me and Chris to play running back, like for the low too. And we're going to decline. Well, I can't speak for Chris, but I'm
accepting that contract. I'm just going to pull a Tyler Lockett. As soon as I get the ball and I see someone in front of me, I'm hitting the grass, the turf. I'm sliding.
You're getting murdered out there. But Godspeed, brother. They got insurance in the league. You'll be all right. Might need your leg amputated, but yeah, you got another one. So I just keep that in mind. The tag's a fair number, but I would be very, 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 very shocked if Geno plays games on the tag. I think the deadline is like July 15th for the tag. Not for the tag, excuse me. The first day you can tag a guy, I believe, is February 21st. I think the deadline, the 2-week window to make the declaration that you're going to tag is February 21st to March 7th. Once you tag a guy, you have until July 15th to work out a deal. I think that's how it works. I'd be very surprised if by July 16th, he's still on the tag. I think they're going to have to get a deal done to build the rest of the goddamn roster. So just keep that in mind. What was that third one?
Last one is better use of the first round pick, best D-line or best interior O-line available?
Definitely best D-line, particularly with the top 5 pick, edge. The more I've been thinking about this, I'm actually not a big fan of using it on an interior line, like a 3 technique for 4 tech type of guy. Like I don't really think you need to do that. With the top 5 pick, like you can get like a guy as good as like Dexter Lawrence, or a guy who can also play some nose, or get a guy who's good as Quentin Williams, who I think was like the number 3 pick or something like that a few years ago. Like you can get that. I just feel like you can get a comparable level player later in the draft, even if it's just 10 spots back and picking up some more picks along the way. So I would say. Then that goes for interior O-line too. Like I don't think you should take like a left guard with pick 5. Maybe you get Quentin Nelson, but maybe you get a guard who's just as good with the 70th pick. So I don't know. I'd have to go look at like where the Pro Bowl guards and All Pro guards are coming from. Are they first rounders? Are they second rounders? Generally speaking, though, I doubt they're all like top 10 picks. With the exception like a guy like Quentin Nelson was like pick 8, so 7 or 8, something like that. Man, I'm throwing out a lot of stuff that we got to fact check. Anyway, so I would definitely go defense. I text you that, or I text somebody else that they should use all their picks on defense.
Probably not. It wasn't me.
Okay. I remember somebody right after the game. I was like, yeah, they should use all of their picks on defense. Like, not because they need guys who all will start right away, but definitely for the future. The future needs young, really good talent waiting in the wings, because guys go down. And I think they did really good in the secondary this year, particularly at safety, of having guys in the wing. But even then, they had to go get Tease Table or had to go get Jonathan Abram. They didn't just have, They had Joey Blunt and Ryan, but both of those guys got hurt with knee injuries. So, yeah, I would say defense. If you need a guard, go get a guard later. You need a center, go get a guard or go get a center in the second round. Everybody wanted them to take Creed Humphrey. Creed was like pick 50, whatever. You'd be all right. He's like the best center in the league. So, I think with those first picks, defense, and make sure those guys can play right away.
This next one comes from Thorsten. Did Shanahan outcoach Pete and the defense, or was the defense just not playing well? Also, do you think any defensive coaches will step down after this season?
Ooh, that second one is good. I don't know if I had thought much about that. I don't think so. Step down, probably not. Maybe they reevaluate how, some of the position group guys, LBs, maybe edge. I think so much of it was like big picture scheme stuff that was just not working. They called it out in real time. Like Hugh Jeff was calling it out in real time. Shelby, you talked to Puna today. He talked a little bit about how difficult it was to make that adjustment to the scheme and all that stuff. Puna, who's an unrestricted free agent, by the way. He could be on another team next year. But to the point about the game itself, yeah, man, I think they got outcoached again. And I mentioned this to Chris. And Chris, maybe we could go back and count all the games to really have a full picture. But it just feels like this is just another example of a team effectively moving the ball against Seattle defense, largely by using a variation of the same play.
Yeah, we have the clips to prove it, Mike.
That is alarming. And not even these clips right here before we get to those. Wait, do we have any Tariq questions later? Because we can use those later.
I'll find it. I know we have some. I just gotta find them, so don't worry about it. I'll pull them up as we get to it.
Because I think the other thing, like, I don't think we need the clips. People listening to the show, they watch the Saints game. All them Taysom Hill plays was a variation of the same shit. They really was. And then one time they got in that package and threw it for a touchdown. Variations of the same stuff. What was it? The Panthers game? They kept running a variation of the same action.
Yeah.
Kept working. Even the Rams game last year. So we're back to Ken Norton time, the first Rams game, the one where Russ broke his finger. They're running a very is that the one Russ broke his finger? Yeah, I think it is. Maybe man, I might be thinking 2 years ago. Either way, whatever year the Rams won the Super Bowl, that's the year I'm talking about. The game that was here in Seattle. They run in the same version of the same concept over and over and over and over. The homie Ted Wynn has a film study on it from back then. I think he's like they're using Dagger or Dig or something like that. Same concept over and over. Vikings in week 3 last year doing the same type of stuff. It's not the same exact play over and over, but you guys played Madden. You just mix it up, move a guy here. All right, if Debo running the route this time, okay, now it's Ray McLeod, or now it's Kittle, or now it's Ayuk. Like they were doing the same variations of the same stuff. Bill Barnwell, ESPN, has a tweet up looking at the dots of some of Ayuk's big plays, and they're all the same play. Just guys just moved around. And that is concerning. You just don't want to see that. You don't want to see that in one game, let alone multiple games across multiple coordinators where a team could just come in and have I was watching Remember the Titans on my flight back home from San Jose. And Chris, you remember the scene where Denzel gives the coaches the playbook before they get on the bus to go to camp? And the one coach, the white racist dude, he's like, man, this is kind of a thin playbook. He's like, I run 6 plays like Novocaine. Give it time, always works. It's like, that's basically what teams have done. Not every team does this, I guess the Seahawks. But a lot of teams, it's enough that it's noticeable. Let's put it that way. It's enough that teams find a wrinkle. And it's one thing if your defense has a hole. Every coverage has a hole. Every front has a way to beat it. You know what I mean? Nothing's foolproof, or everyone would run the same stuff. But with the Seahawks, teams have found how to exploit whatever the hole is, and they just keep running the same play like Madden. And it's recognizable in real time. And that's really concerning from a coaching standpoint, because either you're not drilling it properly or anticipating it properly during the week, or you're not recognizing it in game. You're just not putting we use the phrase all the time in the sports media, put your guys in position to succeed. That's an example. You got to prepare the guys for what they're going to see. All right. Even if you didn't see it now, adjust now. And it hasn't come to fruition. So yeah, I think the Shanahan did his thing as he does, and we see McVay do it too. McVay in the first Rams game, he ran like 11 plays and just dressed them shits up. and ran him with. He just said, "Okay, here number 18, you stand over here. Okay, now Van Jefferson, you do that. Okay, never mind. Now we're gonna have Tyler Higbee do that. It was just same stuff, man. It's that's a really concerning thing that like as a micro issue and a macro issue that we can point to several games where a team has just spammed one concept or one thing and it just works over and over and over again. That's pretty rough.
This next one comes from B-Boy Casual, Christopher. Any coaching changes that should be made?
Ooh, that's a good. You pull those back to back like that. It was a good one. I'm not sure. I want to review more individual position groups. I got a little more time in the offseason now. I mean, I'm going to take like the longest nap ever on like Tuesday. But after that, I want to dive in because I think the secondary stuff was like solid, like in terms of getting the most out of guys. Like I think to get the best version of Tariq that he's ever been in his life that fast speaks to Tariq, but also the coaches. And it's something he's talked about. Same thing with Kobe. Same thing with Mike Jack. That's 3 corners who have never started full-time in the NFL before. That's tough. And they were all like serviceable for pretty much most of the year. They started 5 different safeties this year. The Josh Jones thing didn't really work out. But all the other guys, Jay got hurt, week 1, but you get what my point is. Like, there's something there. Like, I can see why a team was like, oh, let me interview Sean Desai. Like, I see that. I think multiple teams have requested to interview him. Carl Scott, I think he's done a good job too. I know this sounds kind of crazy to me to talk about them getting beat with the same concepts, but I think the way they maxed out a lot of guys, I'm very curious on how they want to proceed with the interior D line. Because that's a group that just seems to be running so hot and cold. Guys voicing their frustrations about the scheme not fitting them privately and publicly. Like something's not – there just seems to be a disconnect. I don't know if that's from Pete to Clint to whoever the interior D-line coach is. I forget his name off the top of my head. But like it's like a game of telephone. Pete gives a thing. It gets to Clint. It gets to his assistants. It gets to the players. That little just string of communication was just not hitting in that particular group. And the same thing with the LBs too. Like I'd have to really look at it a bit more, like isolate those groups, look at some games in a row, but off top, those are the 2 position groups that stand out. Cause boy, those groups just ran so hot and cold all year. Yep. The interior D-line one is the one that really stands out to me because there's not a lot of youth in that. What year was this for Puna? Like 5? 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22? Yeah, 5. Q Jeff, it was like 6 or 7. Al Woods, like year 20. Shelby, year 25. So you had guys who they seen a lot of ball. They played in a bunch of schemes. Like to have that unit run so hot, hot and cold, I don't chalk that up to just some inexperience. I feel like the guys were not being consistently put in the positions to maximize them. And that to me is a reflection of the coaching as well.
To flip to the offensive side of the football, this one's from Hawks fan 206. Do you think Sanjay has a path to becoming potentially an offensive coordinator in Seattle or elsewhere?
Yeah, I would hire him somewhere else if I was a team. Like he's getting some good stuff out of his receivers, man. He's really good with the details. And he's their passing game coordinator in the year that he's been the passing game coordinator in 2 of the best years we've seen from Seahawks quarterbacks recently. Or was it the passing game coordinator in 2020? He might have not been in 2020, but
he was gone, wasn't he? Didn't he come back?
He was here in 2020, not here in 2021. He
That's
went
what it was.
From that Urban Meyer staff. Oh, God bless. And then came back.
Got it. Okay.
Here. So he was gone for last season. So, look at Russ's 2020. I mean, look at the DK and Tyler. We got those seasons too, but like you can tell he has an impact on not only receivers, but how the passing game looks. And he played a role too in how Geno cooked this season, for lack of a better verb. So yeah, he's a very interesting cat. I've talked with him a couple times. you can tell he just knows a lot of shit. Like a lot. Like I see why Tyler Lockett, who also knows a lot of shit, swears by that dude. DK does too. I would be concerned if I was Seattle about him getting poached. I would be. I don't know what I'd have to look at which teams would maybe do that. But yeah, I would. If I was a team, I'd call him up. Hey, yo, Sanjay, what's happening? You know, come run our offense. You know, get us right like you got Geno right.
This next one comes from Lukey Rex at Der Luder, and this is greetings from Munich.
Yo,
what is the future of Sean Desai in the organization?
I don't have anything to report on that. Like I mentioned earlier, I know that he was a request. Who was that? The Browns that wanted to talk to him. I think a couple teams want to talk to him. From what I've heard, a couple teams want to talk to him. Yeah, you just can't have him in that associate head coach little spot that long. You know, guys want to be coordinators. They want to be head coaches. They want the upward mobility that comes with being a coach in the NFL. Like, you can only hold it down so long. Guys just don't be position coaches forever, you know, or associate, whatever the hell's, you know, quality control guys. Fuck all that. Want the big job, want the big cherry, want the big check. Like, you know, I'm just projecting all of Sean's desires on the podcast without asking him, but I'm pretty sure. You get in this business, you want to move up, you know. So I think that even if he comes back next year in the same role, I would be very surprised if he doesn't get a promotion somewhere. Someone needs a defensive coordinator and gives him a shot. I mean, look at how many teams right now have fired their DC or their head coach and DC. Like Indy fired their dude. Texans fired their dude. I think the Falcons defensive coordinator retired. Who else done fired their coach this cycle? The Cardinals fired their dude. The Panthers already fired their dude. There's a lot of jobs open, and I don't know what other just defensive coordinator jobs are open. So yeah, and that's going to be the case every hiring cycle. So yeah, I wouldn't expect Sean here in that same role that he's in now beyond next season. If that, I could see him being very attractive on the market.
And part two, how big was his impact for the Seahawks this season?
Yeah, I tried to get a good feel for that. Guys didn't want to give up the details on it, but it sounds like he's just really good with the details, and really explaining to guys, okay, here's what you're doing. Now here's why you're doing that, right? And you understand why you're doing that because this is how people are going to try to attack what you are doing. And so here are the answers to the test when the test comes. Again, I know that sounds kind of crazy because I was just talking about them getting cooked by the same concept. But for individual guys, that hit different. I mean, I talked to Jonathan Abram about this too, about any work he's been doing with Sean Desai to help him get up to speed. You know, Sean, he spoke highly of Sean. I talked to Tabor the other day. He was like, yeah, I think he meets with Sean like once a week, just them two to just go over more stuff so he knows what he's got going on. You know, Ryan Neal talked about him. They call Sean Doc. So if you read any quotes or anything, they talk about Doc. That's Sean Desai. I think he's been really instrumental, particularly with the safeties. The fact that they were able to rotate so many guys there and just not have that position just be a complete fucking liability. Besides having the stability of Quandre, I think that was really a testament to the work that Sean was doing, getting guys to understand this is your assignment. This is why you're doing that. Because when they attack you like this, respond like this. Like he was, from the guys I've talked to about that, Sean helped them with that part too. And it just kind of helped them grow their game and put them in position to make plays.
This next one comes from at Rosebug_22, Chris Leeper. What kind of deal do you see them bringing Geno back with?
Ooh, what's up, Chris? Man, I'm struggling with this. Chris, I might not have a good answer for this all year.
That's okay. It happens. It's tough.
I think that the average per year cannot be less than what Ryan Tannehill got on his initial deal. He since has restructured that deal, so I don't know what the numbers look like now, but I think it was like 4 years and 118. Chris, what's that per year? Like 28, 29?
Oh, brother. Let's just say 29 and a half.
Yeah, something. I think it has to be around there. I think the only comp that you can even kind of make for Geno, and you can't even really make it all the way, but you can, like I said, halfway make it, is Tannehill. Tannehill hopped off the bench in 2019, comeback player of the year, one of the best quarterbacks in the league that season. It was going to hit free agency, got the bag. About the same age as Geno at the time. I think Tannehill was in his age 31 season. I think this was just Geno's age 32 season. So as far as comps that you're going to get under the current CBA, which they signed in 2011, like this version of it. I know they signed a new one in 2020, but you guys get my point. Tannehill is the comp. And I think it doesn't have to be 4 years, but I do think that's the average per year. And you can structure that however the hell you want. Maybe you can get out of it after a year or get out of it after 2. Like they kind of did Derek Carr's deal where they gave him a bunch of money, but basically made him cuttable 10 months later, which is crazy. So I think you have to come in around that average annual salary on a long year deal. I think that a lot of people will wrongly and stupidly cite that no one wins a Super Bowl when their quarterback eats up what's the magic number people have created with their minds? I think 13% of the salary cap or some funky number. If he's over that, 13.5, he's at 14. I think that's the number. That's around the range you want. Geno, whatever it is, taking up about 14, 15% of the salary cap. That's probably what's fair. Does John Snyder agree? I don't know. I'll find out in a little bit. But that seems like fair-ish to me right now.
This next one comes from Enemy Wave. Reporting has come out about a desire for Geno to be back with the Seahawks next season. Does that limit what might be done with the 5th pick, or is it a still quarterback still in play?
I think Geno has played well enough that they don't need to take a quarterback at 5. I think when we assess Geno's play in the context of the future of the Seahawks, I think that is a statement we can probably all agree on. Maybe we can. But I think generally speaking, people can watch Geno this year, even from afar, and be like, yeah, the Seahawks probably don't need to take a pick in the top 5. They got this guy, at least for another year or two. The only people I see really hammering that in is saying that hey, we're not going to suck again to be in this position for a top 5 pick, so we should take it while we got it. And there's something to that. But I was making this point. I think I made it on the show before. There are multiple ways to get your guy, like we talked about with the Niners. Chris, let's go through. Did we do this on the show already? Go through all the quarterbacks in the NFC in the playoffs this year?
We have not, but we can right now.
Let's see. All right.
So you got Kirk Cousins, Vikings. Got Jalen Hurts, Eagles.
All right. So Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
Was it 3rd round pick, 4th? He wasn't a 1st round pick.
That's true.
Jalen Hurts, what, 2nd round pick? Who else in the playoffs?
You're missing.
In the NFC.
I mean, Brock Purdy, obviously.
Brock Purdy, 7th round pick.
7th round. Dak Prescott.
What was Dak? 4th? I think 4th round pick.
Let me double check for you, but I think you're right. 4th round, yep. Dak was in the 4th.
Tom Brady was 6th round. Geno was 2nd round. And then, the Giants. The Giants are starting a 1st round quarterback.
Yes. Yep.
So, and all of those teams are in decent positions with their quarterbacks. It's not great all the way around, but decent. The Giants probably do need a new one. But look at that. They're the team who's starting a 1st rounder, and they're the one who probably needs a new one. But on the flip side of that, where I think it's interesting is the AFC. I think the AFC, if all of the starters were healthy, is literally all 1st round picks. It's I'm looking at it now. It's Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, T-Law,
Trevor Lawrence,
Herbert, and then it would be Lamar and Tua. So that's all 1st round picks.
Wild.
Yeah, right. So there's multiple ways. You don't have to do it with a top 10 pick either. Look at where all these guys are drafted. I think Mahomes was 10. Josh Allen was high like that. Burrow was high like that. T-Law was high like that. Herbert was pick 5 or 6 or whatever. Then Lamar was pick 32. I think, Tua was pick 6 or whatever. So you can have to do that, but then you can get them outside the top 10. It's a little harder, but you can do it. So I think there's just multiple ways is my point. So I don't think that you have to if your argument for Mike, we got to take a top, Mike, I like Geno, or Mike and Chris, I like Geno, but when are we ever going to have a top 5 pick again to take a quarterback? Might as well do it while we got it. I hear you, but I remember there are other ways to do it. There are other ways to get a quarterback. It does not have to be use pick number 5 on a guy now. You know, maybe you can get your guy at 15. Maybe you get your guy at 30. Guys like Derek Carr, Jimmy G, Jalen Hurts, second rounders. Like, Kaepernick was a second rounder, I believe. You can do it. Once you get to round 3 and shit, you can't just count on getting a Russ, Kirk Cousins, Dak. You grasping at straws there. But in first 2, I don't think it has to be that high. So yeah, I think that Geno has played good enough where you don't even need to take a quarterback at 5. And if your whole argument is Chris, we're never going to be here again, think again. Like you can find a guy without using a top 5 pick for that reason.
This next one is from Quentin. If Jalen Carter and Will Anderson are gone and you've worked out a deal with Geno, do you trade back?
I would definitely consider it. I definitely would look at it, man, because the Seahawks have needs that you don't necessarily need a top 5 pick to improve upon. You know what I mean? Like Will Anderson would be great. Like but if he's not there, I do think you can probably get an edge guy at 9 and trade back. Pick up an extra second or something. Third, whatever it takes, multiple thirds, because they need to fill out the roster, like I said earlier, with some more young talent. Because Chris, I don't think people realize. Do you think enough people realize they are basically getting nothing out of their entire 2021 draft?
Sad but true.
Like that's really bad, and that's hard to overcome. Like even just look at the trades that limited them to 3 picks that year. They traded for Gabe Jackson. They traded for Jamal, who's a great player, but who has been banged up a lot. I think he's ended the last couple seasons on injured reserve. So you have his situation going on. That's why you didn't have a first-round pick that year. Gabe is why they didn't have a 5th rounder. I forget why they didn't have a 3rd. Oh, yeah, Jamal as well. So basically all you had was Trey Brown, Eskridge, and then Stone Forsythe, all who could be like serviceable players. But you're not right now. You're getting nothing out of that class in terms of on-field production and snaps and things like that. That's really tough to to make up for that. You need a shit ton of picks, and you need them shits to hit. So I think that I would greatly entertain it because let's say you need a defensive tackle, interior line, cool, get that at pick 9. If somebody wants to jump up from pick 12, give them that. Same thing with an inside linebacker, a center, a guard. Unless you need like a corner, receiver, quarterback, or a tackle. Those 4 spots. Wait, did I say edge?
Just
5?
now? No.
Yeah, so edge.
Okay.
Those 5 spots, if you don't need any of those 5 with your top 5 pick, trade it back. So you can argue that they need a quarterback. I would say they don't. In this scenario that was painted to us, Will Anderson didn't make it that far. I would trade back. So I think unless it's those 5 spots, you're in the top 5, you can legitimately trade back, pick up more assets, and then fill in your gaps elsewhere.
This next one is from Chris Lee, and it's prediction time. We're in full offseason mode. What do you think will happen with the 5th pick?
Oh, I think they use it. I think they use it on a lineman. I'm not sure which one. Maybe it's one of them cats from Clemson. Maybe it's who else is up there? Yeah, maybe it's this kid from Florida State. Oh, no, he's going back. Oh, wow. I didn't even pick that up. Wow, that's crazy. Maybe it's a corner. Maybe it's Keely Ringo. Like I think they're going to use it. I would imagine them using it. I would imagine them using it on a defensive player and a defensive lineman at that, with Pete and John justifying the pick by obviously how good the player is, but then probably telling us some shtick like, hey, look around our division. Look at all the guys that have to play. Look at all the first-round picks that we have to go up against. The Aaron Donalds, the Eric Armsteads, the DeForest Buckners, the Nick Bosas, even damn, that's a shit ton of dudes right there. Point being, they've had to play a lot of teams with high-level first-round linemen on the up front, and the Seahawks haven't had that highest drafted lineman they have. Bruce? Yeah, Bruce was like pick 15.
Yeah.
That's it. So I could easily see them be just as they took Charles and being like, yeah, this is where you got to draft stud tackles. I could easily see them justifying a pick of a D lineman who's a wrecker like that by saying, hey, look, we needed to be up at the top 5 to get a guy like this, so here we are.
This next one comes from Holly at Hallberry03. How would you grade the rookie class? And what's something you are looking forward to in the offseason?
Whew. I thought the rookie class was probably like an A minus. I thought it was really good. I thought it was outstanding. Actually, the only reason I'm not giving it like a plus or a solid A is because I do think that they had some moments where the rookies like actively cost them some games, and that's pretty rough. Even if it's not like they weren't like totally like awful, they just had some moments like, ooh, yeah, damn, yep, having a rookie there will do that. Even if it's something like, Tariq just busting the coverage against the Niners in week 15, or Abe giving up strip sacks, or giving up sacks in key situations. I think it was like against the Raiders or whatever, or getting beat by Bosa or Chandler Jones, or whoever the hell. Or there was just games I'm like, yeah. Youth will do that. So, but it was a great class, man. It was a great for year one. Chris, what would you give it? Because A minus feels they were really good.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I would say, piggybacking off of what you just stated, I would say also just production wise, I didn't get a chance to see Tariq Young as much as I wanted to. Obviously, it's tough because of they got DK, Ty Lockett, Marquise Goodwin was playing really well, but until he got hurt, and then Tariq got his opportunity. But I would give them I'll give them a B plus. I thought it was good. They did lose some games because rookie moments here, that happens. But that's why I'm giving them a B, because there's still room to grow. They have a ton of opportunity next season to be even better than they were. Tariq Young, he has an opportunity to be that third wide receiver. I did a film session on him 2 weeks ago about opportunities that were there, but he just needs to get in and out of his breaks faster. And that's something he can do over the offseason, get better at that, and he can be the number 3 guy on the Seahawks roster. And then that just tells you how good this draft class was, just looking at Tariq Young as an example. And then Charles Cross, Abe Lucas, those guys played out, balled out. Kobe Bryant, had a hot start, and then he kind of just leveled out, and we didn't hear from him as much, which isn't a terrible thing, but I expect him to make plays more consistently next season. But I'll give them a B plus overall. And then her next question was just about the offseason. What are we both looking forward to?
Well, one last thing on the draft class. Your hot take out of that class sounds like Tariq will be wide receiver 3, which is cool. I could get on board with that. I would like to see Kobe go back to the outside.
Oh,
I think he can handle it. Not to say he was bad at nickel or anything. I just like the idea of he and Tariq over there, whoever they get, whether it's Trey Brown. I just want Kobe back in that competition. And then if Mike Jack ends up winning out, or a rookie or whatever, or Trey Brown, that's fine. Put Kobe back over there. But I want to see him outside. I think he could be a really lockdown dude there. And I still think as well as he adjusted to the nickel thing, I just feel like he fits. He can just play so much faster without having to worry about two-way goes from speedy ass little slot receiver. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Kobe can handle all that. It's fine. He handled it all year. But I think he would play even faster and have more of an impact going one-on-one on the outside. I think he'd be more comfortable out there. He can obviously cover, and he can tackle his ass off too. And obviously he can get the ball out. But yeah, that would be – I want to see him back in that competition. Like if they're not going to draft a corner high, which is fine, put Kobe back over there, man. Like Kobe, Mike Jack, Reek, and Trey Brown, let that be your 4 guys on the outside, and find some other nickels. Or try Trey at the nickel and then move Kobe back out. I think you could do some shuffling there. That's all. What was our second question?
And then something we are looking forward to this offseason.
You want to go first?
Man, that's tough. I kind of want to I guess it's not tough. I have my answer. I kind of want to say the draft. This is we've talked about how important the draft has been for the Seahawks. as in last season, how important it was, especially when they traded their superstar quarterback who actually Pete realized, yeah, you're struggling. I think we can make it work. And they answered and responded with, as you just mentioned, an A- draft class. Now, this team made it to the postseason, and they want to build on what they already have. I feel that is even more of a challenge because you can't screw that up. You take the 5th guy overall, and he turns out not to be who you thought he was. That is a step backwards. Not only do you potentially not make the playoffs, you just wasted a pick on a guy that's supposed to help you in certain moments. You mentioned the 2-minute warning. Can he be, if he's a pass rusher, is he going to be on the field on those final 2 minutes? If he's not on the field, that draft pick went for nothing. Obviously, you can find depth later on in the draft, but you obviously want to do well in the first round, clearly. You want to do well in the second round, clearly. Third, fourth, fifth, okay, they give you a break if things don't work out usually. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm really excited to see what they do in the draft, who they get, and then obviously free agency. There's some linebackers out there that could be useful, right? Do they go out and get a linebacker for depth or someone to come in? Because Jordan Burks is going to be out for quite some time with that knee injury. So I'm looking at free agency and how they attack the 2023 draft.
Can my thing just be sleep?
Well, as much as you've been traveling and writing, I would say yes.
Man, I'm looking forward to a lot of sleep, man. Last night I couldn't sleep. I rewatched the game on my phone. I watched the Chargers game because everyone was talking about it, and I only caught like the 4th quarter. So I was like, yo, let me watch this. So I watched that whole game on my phone too. I went to sleep. Trevor Lawrence, by the way, might be that dude.
Incredible.
Woo! He is nice. Anyway, yeah, so I only got like 3 hours of sleep last night. I felt like I closed my eyes and then my alarm went off. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? It's 4:30 already?
That's sometimes how I feel after we record on after a Sunday night or a Thursday night game. Because obviously I get up a little early for the radio. I'm just like, dog, did I not just close my eyes? I know I just finished. I feel you, Mike, on certain scenarios.
Yeah, sleep would be my main thing. Getting some guys on the podcast is my other thing. That's what I would love to do. Just getting back in the locker room was just so good. It just helped build the rapport. You know, it was I did so much the last like 2 locker room sessions, both the one in San Francisco and the locker clean out day that they had today. Just telling guys I appreciated them, just chopping it up, daps and hugs. Just like, it was cool. It was good, and it was energy. It was reciprocated too, So that was nice. I got guys in there calling me by my first name. Like no one actually, hey Mike, come here, let me show you something. Like, oh yeah, what's up, man? So I think that helped because there's a lot of guys on there who I think would make good guests.
The whole starting defense. Let's get them all on the show.
Yeah, we need Nino back on. I definitely want to have Tariq on, Nick Ballore, as well.
Yeah, he owes us. We owe him. I guess.
Yeah. I think we owe Nick on that.
Yeah, Russ being traded the day we were supposed to record really dampened that.
that changed everything. I would really like Ryan Neal on the pod. Shelby Harris, like all these. It's just so many guys that
Shelby's not gonna like me. I already know that.
Yes.
He's already throwing shade. I ain't even met the guy yet.
Yeah, Shelby a funny dude, man. So yeah, I think there'd be so many guys that would just be even Chenna. I don't think like the media thing is like his thing, but he would like being on the pod.
Well, yeah, he talks to you. You guys built a relationship. That's what it comes down to, man. So
yeah. So DJ Dallas is the other one.
Yep.
DJ would be great. The Wolf, he would be great on the pod. So and then always love to have Lockett on anything we do, any platform we got. So yeah,
right.
I'm gonna try to work all that stuff out. I wish I got to talk to some of these guys in the locker room clean out today. Half the guys I just named weren't there, but that's something. If we can get just even 3 or 4 guys I just named, that would be running backs coach Chad Morton too. You guys would get a kick out of Chad, man. That's a funny guy. Yeah, so that's what I'm looking forward to if we can pull it off.
Next one comes from Rio Fernandez. Overall thoughts on the offensive line?
Yeah, inconsistent. Really thought it regressed in the second half of the season as a whole. Like I think there was moments and games and individual players who would play strong and then play whatever. Like, but I thought, particularly with the run blocking, that lull that they hit was really concerning for me because it just that they were the engine of the team, and they just were not being the engine of the team. And I don't know enough about O-line play to really diagnose what specifically went wrong. I know some guys have mentioned some things. I think Ray Roberts has some tweets about the O-line. Shout out to the homie Ray. We got to get him back on too. It just seemed like not basic stuff, but just like such fundamental stuff like aiming points and communicating on combo blocks and, everyone just taking the right step at the same time on a zone run, shit that don't seem like it would be that hard, or just like that you just randomly just get not good at in week 11, or whatever. So I think that as a whole, like for the season, I think there's some promise. There's some stuff you could build on. I do think you probably might have to end up replacing like 2 starters. I think I talked to Austin Black today, said he wants to come back. But then he also mentioned he's like, I'm only playing here. Like he's like, if I don't play with the Seahawks in 2023, I'm retired. Like, what? Dude's like our age, Chris. But then he got kids and stuff, so I feel it. And I told him after we did the interview, just kind of chatting, I was like, you know what, man? I hope you're back next year. But if you're not, football looks like it hurts. So if you walk away, I swear to one of the interns was standing right there. I said, dude, football looks like it hurts. So I'm like, when y'all walk away, I feel it. That shit looks so painful, particularly playing center. Imagine just lining up against dudes Vita Vea's size every week.
I would quit, Mike. What are you talking about?
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I think he has a few kids. I don't know.
Matter of fact, as soon as I look over and I see, hey, you know what? What's his name? Retired during halftime. I'm retiring when I'm looking up the warm-ups. I go out there and I see, that's who I'm going up against. Yeah, I appreciate the money, the opportunity to play in that National Football League. I'm bowing out now. Backup center, he has you covered. I'm done.
Yeah, so I think that they could end up needing to replace him if he decides to walk away. They got a lot of money tied into Gabe Jackson. I could see just from a money-saving standpoint, they probably want to get up from under that, especially if they feel like they can just re-sign Phil Haynes, who's an unrestricted free agent, for a cheaper deal. And Phil's a younger dude, too. I think he's younger than both of us. So, yeah, you probably got to replace a couple guys there. I think the upshot on Abe and Charles was super high. I think Abe might be like a future Pro Bowler, too. Like, Abe is really good, man. He can really run block, too. Like, he's really good. And Charles, you can see Charles coming into his own. I think the thing about the 2 rookies in particular, this is probably also why they got A- as a whole class, is that there were some moments where it was just clear that the guy they were going against had him that day, or in those key situations. Again, sometimes that was like Max Crosby, who was like kicking ass, or Nick Bosa. But when you watch the film, it don't have a little underline that says you're a rookie. It just says you are blocking on this play. And at some point, I expect guys to just hold their own, because that's your contribution to help the team. Is it a little unfair? A little bit. But like that's the reality of it, The referee doesn't say, "Oh yeah, no, never mind. We're gonna take that sack back. That guy's a rookie. That guy's a 10-year vet." No, you do your job to help the team. So I think that'll come with some time, though. You can't if you're out here handling Nick Bosa as a rookie, you Walter fucking Jones. But yeah, I do think the whole group is particularly in run blocking, man. It just hot and cold. It was hot. Got real cold and heated back up, man. That's just that inconsistency was unfortunate to see, and I do think that directly contributed to why this team is watching the playoffs from home, just like me and you right now.
This next one comes from Braden. What position group are you guys wanting the Seahawks to focus on the most in free agency? What pickup would you like to see?
You want to go first? I don't have any players off the top of my head.
I do, and I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to go linebacker, and there's a couple of linebackers that you can probably go after. For example, the 49ers, Azeez Al-Shaair, he'll be available. That might be someone you can get some depth at linebacker. Levante David, I know he's old, and he's probably going to want a little bit of some change, but that's another one. He's with Tampa Bay right now, so I think he's another player. Devin Bush.
Is that number 51 on the Niners? Is that him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He's
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
He's
That's all.
solid.
I know you're talking about. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we were
Exactly. So those are I would go linebacker, and those are some of the guys I would look at. There's obviously a bunch of other linebackers there that you can, take a stab at maybe, but those are I would say linebacker depth for free agency. And those are some players that I looked up and was like, okay, they'll be free agents. I like their game. I could see it working in Seattle. So we'll see what happens there. Mike, you got any ideas?
This is tough, man. It's really tough, particularly for like I know you mentioned Levante David. I'm looking at some of the other inside linebackers, and I can see how you landed on that name because it's not great. I really want them to beef up the edge, man. I want them to beef up the edge. I want their D line looking like Phillies.
10 sacks a pop for each of you guys.
Everybody who plays for the Eagles has 10 sacks. I think they have 11 guys with 10 sacks. It does not make sense how many guys rush the passer at a high fucking level when you play for the Eagles. I'm about to look. I want to get the actual number right here while I pull this up. But we see every week against the Seahawks what pressure can do, particularly in key situations. Like there's so many games that just get wrecked because a team can't convert on 3rd and 9 because by the time they're right tackle, I just watched the Dolphins game. We were recording a little bit after the Dolphins lost to the Bills. The Dolphins had a 4th and 6, try to keep the drive alive. Boy, that right tackle got lifted. I think it was that Greg Russo that lifted that? It was either 50 or 90 for the Bills that just straight lifted I'm talking forklift off his feet. And it just disrupted the whole play. Tyreek was wide open over the middle. Skylar Thompson had no time to find it. He scrambles out, throws it to whoever. Why? Pressure. All right, let me see how many guys in it. Dog, the Eagles D-line is a video game, bro.
They have 5 dudes, right? Or 4.
So Hassan Reddick has 16. Brandon Graham has 11. Javon Hargrave has 11. Josh Sweat has 11. Like, come on, what are we doing here, bro? That's absurd. They had 69 sacks as a team.
That's a video game number.
Yeah, but Fletcher Cox had 7.
And he's usually the guy that is always in 10. He's their main guy. Next to Brandon Graham.
These pressure rates are crazy too. I mean, this is bananas. Honestly, are any of these guys about to be free agents? Sign one of them.
They're not leaving. Unless the Seahawks are willing to throw them the most money ever, they ain't leaving.
Yeah, man. Shit. Yeah, that's the position group. Let me look and see if there's any edge guys that stand out to me. Brandon Graham's go sign him.
There we go. Huh?
Yep. There you go. He's gonna cost a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The Seahawks gonna have to blow the bag.
Oh no, he won't cost a lot. He old. I forgot he's 34.
And but he had 11 sacks, Mike.
He about to be 35. Nah, he won't get the bag. Never mind, don't sign. You can go get him.
What do you have to lose at this point? He's a veteran.
Yeah,
he's a Super Bowl champ. Go after him.
I want a younger cat. If you're gonna talk about giving a guy a bag, but that's the position group for sure. Like that's the one. Yannick Ngakoue is a free agent too. I'm with that. Honestly, if the Rams don't re-sign number 97, Michael Hoyt, I think is his name.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he's a free agent or anything, but if you can get him, go get him. I'm cool with Yannick Ngakoue too. I'm cool with that. Yeah. I just think you need like 4 dudes, like for real. And I really just only think they're like a piece away from in that. Like I think Darrell Taylor can be okay. Like if he's your second best pass rusher, that's fine. If he's your third best, your team is probably amazing. Like it's like the NBA when your third best scorer is Kyrie, because you got James Harden and Kevin Durant. It's like, oh, okay. When our second best player is Kyrie, we cool. When our third best player is Kyrie, we're the Avengers. So I think the Seahawks need to think of it that way. We need to be the Avengers. So if you got Chenna, another dude, and then DT, and then you can groom a Boye, you can groom a Bam Johnson, you can groom a Tyreek Smith, who was the 5th round pick out of Ohio State last year, who was on the PUP list all season. You could draft a rookie. There's room to build too. But again, they're playing for the present too. Like you want to win now. And I think, you gotta, if you get a big name, bring back Chenna, DT, Bam Johnson, Boye, a rookie, Tyreek Smith. I'm with that.
Talking business. Next up, This one comes from Tony K at Karate K84. If they were to surprise both of us and surprise us and sign a big time free agent, who would it be? Also, if they were to have a surprise player that were to be cut, who would it be?
I wish I had a better answer for the free. I just can't entertain it. Not I can't entertain. I don't think it's really worth our time to. I just don't think they would do that. They would spend a lot of money at that position. I think the only position they would maybe spend money on is a trade. I would say a trade, perhaps, and even then, I think the only person that I could see kind of making a little bit of sense to them is Brian Burns. If John Schneider calls up the homie Scott Fitterer in Carolina and says, "Look, big dog, proud of you over there in Carolina, but you got some rebuilding to do, my boy. Go ahead. We'll give up a couple first-round picks. You can have our second one this year, and you have our 2024. Come on, give us Brian, so we can let this rock." Something like that, maybe. I would imagine the Jamal trade maybe dissuading them from doing something like that again, because you kind of get the sense that they were like, "Yeah, we like Jamal, but we probably won't do that again," at least from a front office view. The other one that would be fun is if the Broncos are in a position where they're just like, "Shit, man, we need capital. Anybody want Patrick Surtain the second?"
Oh,
now I don't think they would do that,
that's
but
a splash.
I see a world where they have to do something like that if they want to start recouping to rebuild the thing. He's one of their young pieces, but also he's the piece that would fetch the most if you were to ship him out as well. I don't think they would do something like trade for DeAndre Hopkins or nothing. Oh, that would be fun too, but the price point on that would need to be much lower. So I think a trade to the question asker's point, I think a trade is more likely. I don't think there'll be a ton of surprise cuts. Like I feel like anybody who gets cut, you'd be able to like figure out why and could have foreseen it. The name that came to mind a couple weeks ago was Noah Fant, but I forgot that the 5th-year options are fully guaranteed now. So I don't think you can't
eat that.
Yeah, you're not eating that. And well, then also Will Dissly blew out his knee. So
need depth.
Yeah, we need starters because he lost Will. So that was the only name I thought of. Otherwise, I think any cut that happens, you guys will all see it coming.
This next one comes from Larry Collins. What positions do you guess will have rookie starters beginning on game 1 next season? And those projections, what positions will have rookies as key contributors?
I could see a rookie center, in particular, if they keep Geno, because I don't think you can have both. I don't think you can have like a rookie quarterback and a rookie center. I think with quarterback and center, one of them should be a vet. Like if you got to have a rookie quarterback, cool, give him a vet center, and vice versa. You know what I mean? So I could see that. I could see a rookie right guard as well. Like if they were like move on from Gabe and want to play Phil and maybe another guy, they also draft a guy and then let him and Phil battle it out and then just go with the rookie. I could see something like that. I could see a rookie nickel as well, starting in that spot. What other spots there? You could see a rookie tight end, maybe. See a rookie tight end. Rookie receiver, perhaps, as the wide receiver 3. Are we missing any?
No, I think that's that's it.
Yeah, that's probably it. The most likely, I think, is a right guard. I think a right guard is probably right. And maybe a rookie inside linebacker, but I'll probably just say guard. Guard is the most likely, I think.
This one comes from Young Slick X. What are the odds of the Seahawks getting Ryan Neal back? Also, Mike, which city had the best strip club this season?
Yo, I was thinking about this the other night because one of my homies at the strip club Saturday night. Saturday night. I did not go to any strip clubs on my road trips this year. 0. I didn't even think about it. It wasn't like I told myself, don't go to the strip club, Mike. I just naturally did not. The last time I was at a strip club, I was in Vegas in the Pro Bowl. I think I was at Spearmint Rhino or something. Sapphire, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, I did not go to
You're
any.
disappointing the listeners, man.
Man, you know what? There's some cities that I'm gonna travel to next year that I haven't been to before. I'll check them out. I think we go to Nashville next year, Baltimore, and Cincinnati. I'm not doing Cincinnati. Maybe I'll check out a strip club in Baltimore or Nashville, and I'll come back with a report. Damn, I did not expect that question. That's funny.
Yeah, I just threw it because it was funny. So yeah,
that's really fun. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in myself for not being able to deliver some insight there. Yeah, I didn't even try it in Germany. That would have been wild. Wild in Germany. What was the first part of that question?
Odds of Ryan Neal returning.
Oh, I think Ryan Neal's back. He's like 99.9. So Ryan Neal's real quick. Ryan Neal's a restricted free agent, which, man, that's kind of fucked. Because a restricted free agent means that you don't hit the market, and teams can basically offer you a deal like a tender. So they can offer you what's called a first round tender, which is a fixed number, like it doesn't move. So it's like, I think this year it's like $6 million. And what happens is, so let's say they sign him to a tender and the Bears call and say, hey, Ryan, we'll sign you to a 3-year deal worth $24 million. Come play for us. The Seahawks can be like, all right, well, we'll match that. So Ryan stays. Or the Seahawks are like, damn, y'all want to pay Ryan that much? All right, you can have him, but you got to give us a first round pick in exchange. Same thing as if you sign a second round tender, which I think this year is $4 million. So I think that's what they would do, because I don't think someone's going to basically trade a second round pick for Ryan. Oh, they could. I don't think so. And then the other one is called an original round tender or a first right of refusal tender, which is the same thing. It's just a lower number. I think it's like $2 million. So I think Ryan will be back for sure. The reason I don't think it'll be the original round tender is if someone does sign him to an offer sheet and the Seahawks don't match, the Seahawks get nothing. So that's why you just do the second round tender. That way, all right, we're keeping Ryan for like $4.3 million. If someone trades us a second round pick for him and pays him, is what it is. That doesn't really happen that often. But that kind of protects you so you don't lose a guy that good for nothing. But I think he'll be back. The reason I say it's kind of fucked up that he's a restricted free agent is because usually you're a restricted free agent after like 3 seasons or whatever. Ryan's been in the league since 2018. But the reason he's a restricted free agent and not an unrestricted free agent is because when he was in Atlanta in 2018 and when he was here in 2019, he didn't get what's called an accrued season. So basically, like your shit didn't count. So that doesn't count towards free agency. So he can't hit the market. That's kind of fucked up. If you're in the league for 5 years, you should be able to hit free agency. Same baseball. So that's thank you for coming to my Ryan Neal TED Talk.
This next one is from Nick Z Red. Is it time to abandon this Vic Fangio scheme?
That's a great question. No. There are teams running this well. You know who plays? They don't play a lot of the same Fangio thing, but like, you know who plays like a bunch of too high in quarters? The Niners. You know who's doing it well? The Niners. Now, right now, as we speak, Minnesota's out here getting carved up by Daniel Jones. They also run a very similar defense as Seattle. But the too high split safety structure with the light run boxes is not inherently bad. You just need good players. You need good players, which is why I think they should dedicate a ton of resources to defense. They should draft a lot of defensive players, like 10. Like use your money on free agency and on offense, and then draft defense, all defense. Again, not just for this year, but like to have guys waiting in the wings too, because the scheme is not that bad. The scheme works. You just need the guys to fit it. The scheme up front didn't really fit Q-Jeff. Didn't really fit Shelby, although he can do whatever. Didn't really fit Puna. So if you got a scheme that don't fit your guys, then yeah, maybe change it or change the guys. So I think the scheme is fine. It works. It can shut people down if played correctly with the right players who fit it. It can stop explosives. I mean, the Seahawks, this was the biggest game they've given up downfield stuff passing. They really haven't been getting cooked downfield in a minute throwing the ball. They've been solid. So I think the scheme's fine. It highlights the safeties. I think with Jamal Adams back, you guys will like the scheme a lot more. I asked Ryan Neal today, actually. I was like, man, you want to start, huh? Yeah. He's like, all right, well, what about Jamal? He starts. You want to start? How's that going to work? He said, I want to play with him. that was going to be the plan the whole time before he got hurt, was to play together, to do like the peso package together with Ryan. And yeah, it was going to be nice. So I think you keep the scheme. It'll work. You just can't have the lack of depth that these guys had. You need some more top end talent.
This next one comes from Tanner. Who do you think was the most improved player over the entire season?
Oh, Chris, you know who I'm going to pick. Your boy.
Please don't do it.
No, who you been saying got better all year?
Cody.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would have someone else, because knowing you, Mike, you always got like someone else that, you know, people forget about, dark under the radar, dark horse, I mean. But no, I guess we both agree it's Cody, because that was going to be mine, because he asked for both of ours, but you already answered it. So we are in agreement. I thought from week one, I know we can obviously discuss it when we get to 3 questions, but I thought overall Cody really he got better week in week, which I thought he would, just because I explained it after I think maybe the 2nd or 3rd week. I was like, guys, this is only his 3rd NFL game. There's a lot for him being thrown at. He's obviously going to watch the film. He's still a talented football player. He just has to know what's going on. He hasn't been out there. He's been watching it on the sidelines his whole career. And now he's been thrown into the fire. It's going to be rough. And we saw the roughness, but we saw him get better week in and week out. Hell, he almost had an interception. He had a great pass breakup. He read it. He was right where he needed to be. He just dropped it.
Yeah.
So we were in agreement. Cody Barton.
Yeah, Cody for sure. And I was talking to Cody today in the locker room, and he was just mentioning a really big thing for him was watching tape, self-scouting himself during the bye week.
Bingo.
That was the thing.
Oh, the bye week. Okay, even better.
The bye week in particular. Yep. Yeah, he just because that was the first time like he had never started, like you said. Then he got thrown into it, and it was just 10 weeks in a row.
Bang, 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 bang.
10 weeks in a row. Bang, bang, bang. On to the next game. On to the next film session. On to the next game plan. Boom, boom, boom.
He had no time to gather.
No time to sit back and evaluate himself. You know, and just look at what he was doing good, what he was doing bad, and it was just enlightening, it was illuminating. And then now he's going to have the chance to do that for his whole season. And I bet you, even now he says, just alluding to what you were just talking about, like he sees the game so much better now. He can jump stuff. He knows. He said in the second half, he's like he knew what plays are coming, pretty much, because he was able to study himself. So I think he's that. I think that is particularly why. Like he know not only did he grow, he kind of explained how. It's like just got to sit back, watch himself. It's like, oh, okay, I need to correct this. I'm already doing this good, but I can correct this and then this, and this is that play. It was great. The other honorable mention for this would be Darrell Taylor, by the way.
I knew you had someone else in there. See, I knew it.
There's a couple guys. Ken Walker would be one, actually low key. You know, He was doing a lot of dancing for a while, but Darrell Taylor would be the other.
This next one comes from Aaron. Are the Hawks about to enter mediocrity, purgatory? And if so, should they let Geno walk, trade DK for picks, and move on from expensive older vets, Quandre, Jamal, Tyler, etc.?
That's a fascinating question. I don't even think it's a bad question because you can get stuck in that place. However, I don't think you get stuck there as much as people think in the NFL, because in the NFL, everybody's basically 1 year away from going 8-8 in either direction. You could be 5-12 1 year, 8-8 the next. Like the Jaguars and the Lions. Like look how much progress those two teams in particular made. But also look at the Buccaneers who regressed the other way, right? So there's or even the Packers. Actually, those are great examples. Wow. Yeah, all of those work exactly to what I'm speaking to. So I don't think you just stay in purgatory of mediocrity. In basketball, you do. You see teams just perpetually get the 5 seed in the NBA because it is very hard to just like get the 5 seed to make the jump to the 1. Like that's tough unless you sign Kevin Durant or LeBron James. So, or Kawhi Leonard, I guess. So sign a superstar is the moral of that story. In the NFL, though, I think you can have some linear growth. At least you can plan for and expect some more linear growth. I think the roadmap for the Seahawks is probably like the Eagles. Last year were the Eagles, probably like 9-8, lost in the wild card round, made some good draft picks, found the best D-line in football somehow. Traded for AJ Brown, made that splash move, and what do you know? They're the 1 seed, made that big jump. You know, so I think no, I like that question. I loved it. I love the basis of it because it's something I'm sure a lot of people are thinking. But I think they can expect linear growth. They could also just go like 4-13 or whatever. because that's the NFL. You're a couple injuries away from it. You being the Rams. Look at the Rams. You know, they regressed hard.
Lost everybody.
They got hit with every injury at once. Like, that was crazy. So, no, I do not think they're going to they should tear it all down, because that tear down does not guarantee the linear growth. Like, you can tear it all down and then just have picks and cap space for a decade.
And be the Detroit Lions.
And be the Detroit Lions, and be the New York Jets, and be the New York Giants, and be the Jaguars, and be the Cleveland Browns. Teams that have had a shit ton of cap space and a shit ton of draft picks for years. Go ask the Jets how much having cap space and picks helps. They ain't made the playoffs since the Cold War. Like, it's been a while, you know? So I think that, no, they're not going to be in that. As long as they do this right. You get some injuries, who knows? But, nah, I think if the way they're set up now, they can make the jump from the 7 seed to a 3 seed pretty naturally, particularly if they re-sign Geno and hit on, like, just even 2 draft picks and 1 free agent signing. I think that could give them the jump.
This next one comes from Holly Winters. Tyler Lockett seemed to be quiet against the Niners. He had 6 catches for 39 yards. Was he well covered? And is that why Geno couldn't get him the ball? # free Lockett.
They definitely – the Niners do a good job of keeping the top on the defense. Like, you look at the big play that DK had, the 50-yarder, they blitzed. The Niners don't blitz. You see why.
Touchdowns.
You see why they don't blitz. Because their defense works when they keep the top on it and they just let their rush do the thing. They got greedy. D'Amico Ryans got greedy on 3rd and short, sent the house, and Geno said, oh, thank the Lord. I know DK down there somewhere, and let that fly. But because they keep the top on, Tyler is always, unless he catches one of those big ones to boost those numbers, you're going to see a lot of Tyler catches. All right, 7 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards fall down, 8 yards move the chains, 9 yards move the chains. And that's fine. He's a possession receiver in that regard, which is great. But those explosives are what make him elite. But that defense in particular makes it really hard to get explosive. So I think that, yes, the answer to Ali's question is not only was he covered, the whole scheme just doesn't just cover Tyler. It keeps a lid on the whole thing. And that's why they don't give up many points.
This next one comes from @Russ_Miller. Do you feel that Geno has the clutch gene that would help the Seahawks win a Super Bowl?
Okay, that's an interesting one. I don't necessarily believe in a clutch gene. I don't believe in the clutch gene. At least not in football necessarily, because there's so many moving parts. Like in basketball, you can just, either your booty gets tight when you shoot the ball for the game winner or don't. I just think that's not for real.
Great news, Mike. Your booty get tight and you freeze up, or you?
Yeah, booty get tight.
Luka did not get tight against the Lakers 2 nights ago.
No, see, Luka the opposite. But in basketball, there's fewer variables to consider. Like if you just pull up and shoot it, you make it or you don't. There's play calling in football and there's blocking and the guy got to catch it. Like I tweeted. Actually, it doesn't matter. But so I don't think there's the clutch gene. I do think that the quarterbacks who tend to be good in those situations are the ones that can operate without play action, because in 2-minute situations and late game situations, you usually don't have the threat of play action to help you. Geno can check that box. You have to have good command at the line of scrimmage. Geno has that. Strong arm has that. Anticipation has that. Usually decent runners. Tom Brady and Drew Brees were able to do that with stone feet. I don't think we're going to see that much more going forward with this new wave of quarterbacks. We're going to see guys, all the quarterbacks in the league are about to be guys who can scramble for a first down on 3rd and 9. Tom Brady ain't doing that shit. Neither was Drew Brees. They could do it, but you know what I mean. So I think that he checks the right boxes for that in terms of just functioning well at the things you need to function at. Like we talked about it, I think a couple pods ago, when Geno gets in like empty and shotgun, like he really heats up. He can do the play action under center stuff, but he likes to see the whole field. And that's usually the type of stuff you're in, those pure drop back situations. Yes. So I think that the reason I hesitated to answer the question initially is because it was prefaced with win a Super Bowl. I do think if the Seahawks win a Super Bowl, it won't be like it won't require like a bunch of game-winning drives from Geno. Like if their team gets good, it'll be like the Niners with Brock Purdy, where everything around him is so good, y'all just kicking people's ass. Like, or even like the Chiefs. The Chiefs had some clutch drives when they won the Super Bowl, but really Mahomes just kind of turned into, he just went in that mode. Like when they were down 10, I think. Geno can go in that mode. We've seen him do it. He went in that mode against the Cardinals. He went in that mode against the Giants. Went in that mode against who was that? Chargers, I think.
Lions.
Yeah, Rams. He can get in that mode where, all right, we down 7, we down whatever. Oh, it's tied, and we need a big boy 10-play drive. All right, bet. Watch this. So I do think he has all of those tools to be like good in the clutch. I do acknowledge that this is a very fair question because Geno has now coughed up the ball in some very important situations, very critical situations, and I'm a very big turnover guy. Like again, I was watching Remember the Titans on my flight back. I love the scene where he tells them they'll be perfect because boy, that's me as a coach. You fumble the fumbles are the thing I would really not excuse. Fumbles and drops for the most part, mostly fumbles because you already have the ball. It's harder to catch it than it is to, yeah, you get what I'm saying. You fumble the ball, dog. He was having that boy. He was cussing Petey out in that movie. God damn. I see why the white coach was like, bro, he's up on Petey. Yeah, it was bad. But anyway, Geno's had a lot of those. Not a lot, but he's had some just costly ones. That's what it is. Drive killers. The one on Saturday, bad. You cannot get stripped in that situation. Like you said earlier, you can take a sack. It's at the 19-yard line. Even a 12-yard sack is still field goal range. An 18-yard sack is still field goal range. So just the Tampa Bay fumble, some of the interceptions he's thrown have been really costly. So that's a fair question. I do think that Geno has proven he can operate what you need to operate and how you need to do it in the clutch. We've seen him do it in the clutch as well and deliver. But I think if they were to become a Super Bowl contender, it would not be reliant on that. I think they would, if they get there, it's because they have 4 other All-Pros that ain't Geno. And he's getting the ball to them, and the defense is dominant. You know what I mean? Just like the Super Bowl when the Seahawks won, Russ didn't have to mount a bunch of game-winning drives. He basically needs to throw a game-winning touchdown against the Niners in the NFC Championship. But even then, the defense sealed it with Sherm, and then they beat the shit out the Broncos. And I don't think the other games to get to the NFC title game were that close. So, like, that is, I think, going to be the blueprint. It's not going to be like a bunch of late-game heroics by Geno.
This next one comes from JJ Barinio. I noticed during the game Saturday, the Niners targeted the same crossing route to Kittle and Ayuk. How come Pete and Clint didn't adjust, or is that live and die by the scheme?
Yeah, so they basically ran the same play over and over again. And here's an example. Chris pulled up the example from the Niners game. I know people who on audio can't see this, but as you guys probably all remember the first play of the game. Remember how you can just play it, Chris. Just let it roll. It's fine. I'm not going to break it down. I just want people to see. The first play of the game, you guys remember, Brock Purdy sails it over Debo's head, and you're like, damn, it might be a long day. It's wet. And you go back and look at that play, and you're like, God damn, Debo was wide open. And the problem with him being – the reason he was so wide open is because the play action. The linebackers came up so far. Like, if you look at it, the linebackers start at the 40-yard line, and then on the play action, they come up all the way to, like, the 36. And there's just no underneath defenders at all to help out Michael Jackson. They ended up burning Tariq on it a lot, but the play action was the problem. They were so committed to stopping the run, and there really was – it was going to be hard for them to adjust to that. Because what do you tell Cody and Tanner and Ryan? Hey, ease up on the run a little bit, help out our coverage. Well, then they're going to get ran all over. And because they've had all those games where they got their ass ran all over, that was probably hard to do. Now, I haven't asked Clint Hurtt about that specifically, but yeah, they needed to adjust. But the adjustment probably would have been going to a too high look, and then they really would have got ran all over. Like, there was just this was a game where talent deficiency really stood out. Like they like you guys can see the play if you watch it on YouTube. Look how far those guys buy it up. Now, I do think this is also a result of a scheme switch too, because now Chris, pull up the one from Detroit, and what we're showing right now is the play from Tariq's pick 6. It's the similar concept on the one against Jared Goff, but the difference is, whereas remember I said the linebackers bit up like 4 yards, leaving all that room behind. Jordan Brooks starts at like the 30, By the time Jared Goff lets the ball go, Jordan backpedals all the way to like the 38. Right? See the difference there? Like he backpedaled to help Tariq, whereas these guys were coming forward. And some of that is probably just recognizing being good with your eyes. Like Quandre talked after the game. Like there's only so much adjusting to do if your guys got bad eyes. You know, and when Kyle Shanahan, he puts linebackers in hell. And when you hear film guys talk about how Kyle Shanahan's a good schemer and how he puts linebackers in conflict, that's what they're talking about. Conflict with no resolution. They ran the same play over and over and over and over and over again, like Novocaine, gave it time, and that shit worked. Hell, Chris, they ran that play, the first play of the game, and ran a version of it the very next snap. And then I think it was, I think Ayuk might have caught it, or Debo. I can't remember.
Ayuk had, I think, 2 straight catches where it was the same concept. I'm like, so we just, linebackers don't get no depth, huh? All right, I get it, the play action, but you got to drop, man. Once you hear the sideline yell pass, you know, it's time to drop back, baby.
And then even like Debo Samuel's touchdown, look how far up Ryan comes up on a play fake. He's like 10 yards out of position.
Yeah.
Clint Hurtt, they ain't no really adjusting for that. He didn't tell Ryan to just bite up that hard. That's a huge bite on the play act. And Ryan acknowledged that. He said he got bit on the play in 2021 as well. So
he said, shout out Shanahan.
Before we move on to the next question, Kyle Shanahan is the best play caller in the NFL. Like, and I'm a big Andy Reid guy. I'm a huge Andy Reid guy. It's Kyle Shanahan. That man, he just finds whatever your weak spot is. Like, Andy can do a bunch of different things, which is, you know, great. Like, he'll pull up a play from the, would they pull like a 1945 Rose Bowl play in the Super Bowl or something like that? He can do that. What Shanahan will do, he'll find that one thing that you guys are vulnerable to and find 10 ways to run that same shit. And then just keep running it until he just recognizes what your rules are as a defense, like where your hole is, and exploits that joint. Best play caller in the league.
This next one comes from Dave Sayers. Mike, any thoughts on any retirements now that the season's over? So players that might.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Players that might retire. Yeah, there's a couple that they got to watch out for. Not watch out like it's a bad thing, but like I mentioned earlier with Austin Blythe could easily walk away. He said he almost didn't play after 2021. He ended up coming here. So he was like, if I'm not playing for the Seahawks in 2023, it's a wrap. I would imagine Bruce Irvin is probably on the same type of time. I didn't get to talk to Bruce in the locker room today, but I would guess that Bruce is probably like if I'm not playing for the Seahawks in 2023, y'all catch me in Atlanta, which I think is where Bruce lives. Al Woods is the other one, which is quietly a very big deal because Brian Monet tore his ACL. So you probably don't have him for. He could be ready for the start of the season, but then he'd be, that takes time to get back right.
Yeah, get back to where he was. Yeah.
So if you were to lose Al and you lose Brian, that's tough. Then one of the top priorities becomes nose tackle, like for real, like one of the top 2, as long as you re-sign Geno. So those are the main 3 to like pay attention to, and they're not insignificant, particularly Al. They can be all right if Bruce walks away, but if Al decides to, again, Al didn't tell me this or nothing, but I think Al's like 35 or something like that. I think he's under contract, but you just never know with guys who are at that age, have played that long, body's been taking a lot of beatings, so you never know. So yeah, those are the 3 to keep in mind. I would not be surprised if Austin and Bruce retired after this season.
This next one comes from Ryan Turner at Turns44. As the season comes to a close, what were your favorite storylines of the season?
Oh, easily Geno by far. And it's not even just because of like a football thing. Like, I just think Geno was good. And Pete said this after the game too, and I agree. Geno's story is of self-belief and self-confidence. It's just good for life. Yes, it's applicable in sports too. But like, it just has the ability to impact so many others to just believe like, yo, your time is coming. And when it comes, make sure you are ready. I talked to Drew Lock about that today. Because Drew was like, I asked this, like, if the way Geno's career has gone is kind of like a inspiration to him. And he was like, yeah, like his time came and he was ready for the moment. The opportunity, he seized it and took advantage of it. And Drew's only been in the league like 4 years. Geno had to wait till year 10. It just shows like, hey, man, you could It may not be right now, but if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Or whether that's in tennis or basketball or soccer or hockey or whatever, whether you trying to climb the ranks at your job or whatever, you waiting to be the lead person on a project at work or whatever. And all right, Susie's on maternity leave. It's on you, David. Be the lead. All right, David, show up, be the lead, and maybe they'll just give you a job. They don't bring Susie back. Damn, I just fired Susie. But you guys get what I'm saying. So yeah, I love Geno's story in that regard. I feel like everybody can find a way to apply self-belief in yourself, man. Because boy, it was not hard to find clips of people who thought Geno sucked. Those takes were everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere, and Geno had to just block them out and believe in himself. I think a lot of people can probably benefit from just blocking out other people's opinions and believing in himself.
I will go the other end, and I will take Pete Carroll because he believed in Geno, and he had the biggest storyline because he agreed to trade Russell Wilson, which sent everyone into a shock because ESPN reported that the Seahawks would be the 32nd best team in the league.
Damn, did they really? That's crazy.
Yeah, they showed an article that a reporter, not ESPN specifically, but
it was like a power ranking.
Yeah, ESPN reporter, power rankings. Seahawks are going to be 32nd. Pete Carroll just gave away starting quarterback. So there's a lot of pressure, obviously, on Pete to just get 6 wins, okay? And he delivered that and then some, and he kept the train rolling. He believed in Geno when everyone else laughed and giggled and thought about, oh, there's no way. Pete was like, telling you guys, he can do it, and he was right. So I would, not to piggyback Mike, I would just say 1A, Geno, 1B, Pete Carroll. I thought those two storyline-wise, amazing. We got two more. Go ahead.
Pete Carroll's also a good one in humility, too, because, boy, after Geno won, like, Player of the Month, Player of the Week or something, I'd have been on camera every day if I was Pete Carroll. Like, I told y'all was questioning whether I knew football. It's like, because I was thinking about that when I was writing about Pete's vindication, my story that dropped on, like, Thursday or Friday or something like that. I wrote about how, like, the season is vindicating for Pete. I was like, that must have been frustrating as hell for Pete Carroll. If Pete Carroll knows nothing else, like if we scratch like fatherhood, I don't know if he's religious, but scratch like religion, being a dad, being a husband, all these other things that he probably has a lot of expertise in. For people to question, us included, I definitely did, him knowing football well, like that had to be like, you motherfuckers. Like, you know, like what? I've been coaching for 50 years and you're not gonna tell me not to run the ball? All right, bro. Like that would have really bugged me. And as soon as we got hot with Geno and running the ball, kudos to Ken for not just, or excuse me, kudos to Pete for not just coming and flipping the bird to us every press conference because we earned it. Mm-hmm. We definitely earned some of that. Now, some of our criticisms, especially here on the pod, were fair. But we got some stuff wrong.
It's okay. You can't get them right all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I won money betting that Geno would be the starter, so like we didn't get it all. I didn't get it all.
Right. But you just had to throw that in there, huh?
I definitely had to throw that in there. But yeah, Pete, credit to Pete, boy, because I'd be up there like, yo, y'all motherfuckers thought I couldn't coach no more. What's wrong with y'all? I do this. I have a Super Bowl ring and national championships. What do y'all got?
He got a PhD in coaching. Come on now.
Yeah, Pete. Thank you, Pete, for not rubbing that in. He not only did he not rub in our faces, he gave us shoes. Shout out to Pete, man.
Great man. This one comes from Tony K again at Karate K84. Vacation time. Where are we headed? What you got planned, Mike? Any vacation spots? I know I got one for sure, another one in the making, but what you got going on?
Yeah, I don't have any schedule, man. All right, because I got work trips too. So it's like I'm going to the Senior Bowl this year. That's in Alabama. Not thrilled about that, but going there. Then I got the combine that same month. Or when I get back February 4th, and then you have to leave February 26th. The owners' meetings in March in Phoenix. So that's a trip every month right there. So sometimes I just get tired of traveling, man. Just want to be home on my couch, no socks, just watching high school.
Whatever.
Man. Watching Remember the Titans.
There you go.
Which is like not a good movie. Now I rewatched it.
Great movie. Shut up. Don't do this. We're not doing this.
It's not a good movie.
My goodness.
But like I'm saying, the movie is not like quality. Like some of the acting is good. The plot
great, man. Get out of here.
It's a little flimsy.
The plot is amazing. Stop.
Nah, the plot's a little flimsy. And then when you go read about the actual T.C. Williams team, you see that they freaked some stuff to make it
Disney.
better.
They had to dramatize it, make it interesting. Come on now.
No, they did, but it still was a little flimsy and yeah, it was yeah. I love the movie. I love watching it, but yeah, nah. Anyway, so yeah, no vacay plans. Where you going?
So Bay and I we're going to Jamaica, probably in May. So that's one trip, and then I think I might be hitting Atlanta with the homies. We're still trying to figure things out. I know Mike is already like, I'm not going. Yep, can't cancel me out. Cancel Christmas on that one. I think we're gonna drag Mike in unless Mike really cannot go. But Atlanta for sure, or Jamaica for sure in May, and then Atlanta sometime. Maybe I probably won't be in the summer. It might be right before the NFL season. That's kind of when we've had our trips, is late August. So we'll see.
All right, what we closing with?
The last one comes from a good old age. Best and worst airports. Use whatever criteria is most important to you.
So I'm not a big hang out at the airport guy. Like I'm not at like the Delta lounges and Sky lounges and all that shit. I show up to the airport about 30 minutes before my flight, go to the gate, get in line, walk on the plane, sit down. I will say the bigger one that's the issue is how far airports be from where I need to go. And that is Denver. Denver's airport is in Nevada. Like it is so far. It don't make sense how far the airport is from where the actual city is. You in the Uber, you basically got to rent a car. It's crazy. It makes no sense. No sense. No wonder Russell Wilson just takes a private jet everywhere with the 3 on the side. Like that's crazy. The getting in and out of the airport in DC for the Washington game last year, that was rough. I couldn't even get an Uber. My Uber driver, it was going to be $115. And B, he eventually canceled on me and said he couldn't get there because the traffic was too bad and there was too many people at the airport. Like, you kidding me? I was like, you kidding me? Yeah. So for the Monday night game, I ended up taking the train to my hotel, which is
fun train ride, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was actually very fast. It was their equivalent of the light rail, and it was at night, so there was nobody on it. So it was actually pretty easy. But the fact that the airport was that damn crowded was pretty annoying. So yeah, I'm not a big airport guy though. I just I get in and out, man. I think people are weird who like to kick it at the airport. It's just for real. People be in the lounges chilling. What, bro? What are you doing? Go home. Kicking it at the airport. Anyway, but yeah, Denver airport.
Well, those are. Yeah, that sounds miserable, but those are all the Twitter questions. We want to thank every single one of you out there for rocking with us through those 18 weeks. We appreciate all the love and support, all the questions. You guys tuning in weekly on YouTube, Spotify. We appreciate it all. We thank you guys. Can't thank you enough. I know a lot of you left comments individually, but instead of thanking you then, I'll thank all of you at the end. So appreciate it again. Mike, is there anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Yes, we will slow the cadence down a little bit in the offseason. It will not be, 2-3 times a week in the off season because we're not doing game recaps or game previews. Be closer to one or two a month in the off season.
Yep.
We'll do some mailbags. We'll have some guests. We'll talk about free agency, big transactions that happen, draft, all that stuff. It's a lot of the same usual. Just to keep that in mind. Not the same cadence going forward because, like I mentioned earlier in the show, Mike's gonna sleep in the offseason quite a bit. So yeah, keep that in mind and appreciate the love. We'll catch you guys later. Thanks for rocking with us all throughout the regular season and the playoffs.